Today's tutorial will be on development economics. We continue our discussion with regard to the modern concepts and theory of economic growth. As in our previous tutorial, we have started discussing the Harrod model of economic growth, and today we will continue this discussion forward, and in today's tutorial we will start with the second growth equation. So let us begin. Now Harrod proposes the second growth equation, which he calls a fundamental growth equation to describe the equilibrium growth at a steady rate. Now, the warranted rate of growth is taken to be that growth which, if occurs, will keep the entrepreneurs satisfied that they have produced neither more nor less than the right amount. So keeping this definition in mind, we must try to analyze this particular definition in details. Now here, being satisfied with the achievement of this growth rate, the entrepreneurs will actually maintain or perpetuate the same rate of growth. So warranted rate of growth is thus the equilibrium rate of growth. How we can say that? In the sense that producer, if they achieve it, will be induced to maintain it. So this is what is important in context to the second equation. So how we can give it symbolically, how we can represent it? So the condition of warranted rate of growth can be stated as GW, because to distinguish it between the GY, which is the rate of growth in a particular period, and this is the warranted rate of growth, then this is small s by VR. Now Harrod denotes the capital output by the letter, a ratio by the letter capital C, but following the modern practice, what we are doing, we will use V for it. Okay? So by whenever I am saying that it will keep the entrepreneurs satisfied with the amount of investment they have actually made, that is, it is in fact the full capacity rate of growth. Okay, by this I am actually trying to mean this. Now let us discuss this VR. Now this VR is the required incremental capital output ratio, and this is to sustain the warranted rate of growth GW. And how you can determine it? This is determined by the state of technology and the nature of goods constituting the increment in output. And S is simple, this is the average propensity to save. Now, the sort of entrepreneurial behavior that has been envisaged by Harrod means that to maintain full employment, the desired ex ante savings and saving out of the full employment income must be offset by an equal amount of desired investment. But to induce this much investment, what we want is that income must be growing. Now, so we have two equations. So the first equation was gy is equal to S by V, and we have GW is equal to S by VR. Okay. Now in both the equations above here we have S same, because Harrod actually assumes that savings intentions are always realized. And why it is so? So that ex ante savings are always equal to ex post savings. Thus, Harrod is able to show that for dynamic equilibrium, we must have GW by is equal to S by VR. Now this VR in the second growth equation differs from V, which is there in the growth equation of the first. Now we have already denoted that this V shows the increment in the amount of new capital that has been installed during a period, and this is divided by increase in output that is actually obtained from it during that period. Okay. Now, so what it shows what has been actually produced with addition to capital stock in a period, and not whether the producers are satisfied with increase in output actually realized. Now, here I can cite you one example so that it becomes a little easier. So, say if there are boom conditions in the economy, and as a result the increase in capital installed during the period is fully utilized. So the actual capital output ratio, which is given by V, will be nothing but lower. On the other hand, if say there is a demand recession, so again a new situation in the economy, and the good amount of extra capital is installed but not utilized for production, and consequently the incremental capital output ratio will be then higher. But the question is, what determines the size of required incremental capital output ratio, which is VR, which actually keeps the entrepreneurs to perpetuate the growth rate? So we have to answer this particular question. So let us answer it. Now the size of this VR is actually determined by technological conditions and the nature of output that comprises the increment of output, nature of goods. So this warranted rate of growth will be achieved if sufficient increase in income takes place, and this has to be done during the growth process. Now, before we conclude this particular tutorial, the concluding lines which I need to add here is that the proportion of investment to income being fixed, an increase in income would mean that next period both investment as well as income will be higher. Now, in such a situation, the producer will like to perpetuate the growth rate or the rate of growth when they have already realized. So, under such circumstances, the producers invest in the hope that they will be able to sell what they have planned to produce. Or in other words, I can even say that the producer will desire to invest an equal amount required by GWVR, which will be equal in magnitude to S, that which is nothing but the given proportional savings rate. So with this we wind up the tutorial which was there on warranted rate of growth under the Harrod model of economic growth. And in our upcoming tutorial, we'll talk about the condition for equilibrium growth rate with regard to this model.